How do you reimagine? We think it starts with removing complexity, connecting everyone seamlessly, communicating effortlessly, adapting to change, breaking through the noise, sharing big ideas, asking questions, taking experiences and elevating them. Always, always protecting what matters and putting AI to work responsibly so we can fulfill our greatest potential. Come reimagine with us.
Please welcome Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing and Customer Officer at Webex by Cisco, Aruna Ravichandran.
Hi. Wow. I'm so excited to see all of you here today. Welcome to our 4th annual WebexOne. A huge warm welcome to all of our customers and partners who have joined us around the globe virtually, as well as here from Anaheim, California. For the very first time in 4 years, WebexOne is truly a hybrid event. And I also would like to extend my heartfelt appreciation for all of our sponsors. Another milestone for us, 3rd year in a row, WebexOne is now going to be hosted on Webex events, 3rd year in a row, a testament to basically drinking our own champagne. Over the next 2 days, we are going to have action-packed days. We have a wealth of knowledge to share with every one of you guys, including 40+ technical sessions, 35+ hands-on training lab, and you'll hear from a lot of our customers who are going to be telling you inspiring stories on their innovation in the world of hybrid work as well as customer experience. We also have an incredible lineup of luminary speakers, including Robert De Niro, Arianna Huffington, and Neil deGrasse Tyson. And last but not the least, we will be launching groundbreaking innovations in AI, customer experience, and hybrid work. So I invite all of you to sit down, relax, and soak in the innovation and inspiration that awaits you. So now, without further ado, I would like to extend a very, very warm welcome to Jeetu Patel, our Executive Vice President and General Manager for the Collaboration and Security Business.
All right, how's everyone doing? Wow, this is going to be a fun morning. So welcome to the first hybrid Webex event that we've had. This is actually, we do a lot of these events at Cisco, but this one's particularly special. And it's special for a couple of reasons. One is because a lot of us are in person, so that's great. But this is probably the most consequential set of innovations that we have done in the history of Webex. And I'm so excited for the team to share that with you. We can't wait to hear your feedback after you've heard it. I think you're going to love it. But second, we've not always been a great product. A few years ago, there was a lot of work that we needed to do. And a lot of you actually bet on us and believed in us and gave us feedback and gave us the input and pushed us to get better. And this event is actually for all of you to make sure that we can express our gratitude and we can make you proud for the decision that you've made, because I think you've picked a winner. So thank you for coming here. It's from the bottom of my heart. I think it's huge gratitude that all of us feel towards you, and we don't take your trust lightly, and I think we're going to do you proud, and you'll see that today. All right, so with that, let's talk about 2 big board initiatives that we're going to actually spend our time talking about. The first one is hybrid work, and the second one is customer experience. And these are 2 board initiatives which have actually been, I sit on 2 public boards. We talk about these things all the time, And I think there's going to be a fair amount of transformation that needs to happen so that hybrid work actually works, because today it doesn't really work that well. And customer experience is pretty broken too. So how do we make sure that we actually go out and really raise the bar for the industry on this one? And the way that Cisco is going to help with this is in 3 specific ways. One is we're going to fundamentally reimagine how work is done. Second, we'll actually reimagine workspaces. Wherever you work from, you shouldn't feel the distance with the other party that you're working with. And so that's fundamentally reimagining workspaces, whether it's in the office, whether it's at home, whether it's in your car, somewhere in the middle. We want to make sure that we can do that. And third, we want to reimagine customer experiences. So when a customer calls you because they've got an issue, you can use that as an opportunity to actually increase brand loyalty with your brand. So on reimagine work, the big focus that our customers have told us to focus on, all of you have told us to focus on, is make sure that hybrid work actually works. And so we're going to make sure that we actually help you imagine how hybrid work can work. Number 2 is on reimagine workspaces. By the way, with a show of hands over here, with the people in the room, and we've got a lot of people virtually, about 20,000 people or so that are virtual, but with a show of hands, how many over here in your organizations have a mandate to go back into the office a couple of days a week? Right? Keep your hands up for a second. How many are actually enforcing those mandates and you're getting good badge and rates because of that? And that number starts going down. So mandates aren't working, right? And so what we want to do is make sure that the office becomes a magnet so that you can actually attract people into the office for certain types of work, which are harder to do completely virtually. And so we need to make sure that we fundamentally reimagine workspaces. And here's a stat that you should consider. 98% of the meetings moving forward will have at least one participant that's not in the same physical space as everyone else. 98% of the meetings. But only 15% of the world's conference rooms are video enabled. That's a disconnect that we got to resolve, right? And then the third area is reimagining customer experience. And over here, what we've seen is that if we help you show your customers that you care when they call you with a problem, the loyalty goes up dramatically, and they stay with you for life. And customers, frankly, don't tolerate bad experiences for very long. And so in studies we've done, we've found that 95% of the customers would switch brands due to a poor customer experience. We don't want those customers to be your customers. So we're going to make sure that we can help you retain your customers and get them delighted during those moments where you can create magic for them. So don't just take our word on how we can actually make this happen. This is an event where hopefully, both online and over here in person, you can network and meet with a lot of customers who can share stories with each other. We've got some amazing brands here today who are going to share with you the transformation journey that they've gone through. Walmart, Accenture, United, and there's many, many more that you'll hear from. And we want to make sure that you can actually engage with them and find out from them what they did to go out and get really successful in their transformation journey. So, if we think about these 3 areas, how are we at Cisco helping fundamentally reimagine work, workspaces, and customer experience? Let's actually start talking about that, and we'll actually go into a lot of detail. This is a really exciting part. So, on reimagining work, we actually, about 2.5 years ago, decided that we want to make sure that we don't nickel and dime our customers by having 15 different things that they have to purchase from us. We'll actually give them a suite. That suite includes everything from calling, messaging, meetings, polling, Q&A, events, whiteboarding, async video, all of those things completely integrated and provided together. And so Webex Suite is the way that we're really helping customers reimagine work, and you'll see how this suite is going to get 10x better today. Second is reimagining workspaces, and we've got some of the world's best Cisco devices for going out and making sure that the experience is completely immersive. And we thought long and hard about the strategy we wanted to take for devices, and we said, you know what? Let's make sure that we actually don't get too close-minded in the way that we're thinking about this. We want to make sure that those devices that you equip your conference rooms with, your offices with, your huddle spaces with. We want to make sure that those are interoperable, not just with Webex, but with any of the platforms out there in the market. So I'm delighted to announce that we actually have Microsoft over here, because we've actually had a very, very close relationship with them, where if you're using Microsoft Teams, we'll make sure that our devices work magically with Microsoft Teams and actually make Microsoft Teams better because of all the things that we do. And you'll hear from them a little bit later. And number 3 is for reimagine customer experiences. We went from the ground up and built an AI-first customer experience and contact center platform. And so you'll hear a little bit about that today on what we've done and how can that fundamentally change how people approach engaging with their customers, where customers don't have to do the things that annoy them on a regular basis that we've actually gotten to see on an ongoing basis. But the most important thing that I want you to take away from this day is that these 3 experiences actually all sit on a core platform that we've built. So it's built on a single platform. And that's the most important thing, because the advantage that you get by all sitting on the same platform continues to keep compounding. And so what do I mean by that? What I mean is, on the security and manageability side, you have one way to go out and apply security and policy across those different products that we have that are completely integrated. But you also have one way to manage all of your assets. If it's a device, if it's a meetings application, if it's a calling application, if it's a contact center application, all of those are managed from the same admin console. We call it Control Hub. I believe that it is by far one of the best management consoles that you'll see in the industry, not just in collaboration, but in enterprise software at large. And we're going to make that 10x better today, and you'll see how. But there's so much work that's going on in interoperability and integration with third parties that we've actually made sure that the APIs and SDKs are available so that the entire ecosystem can make sure that they integrate with us. And so those are core standards, but what we've also been doing over the course of the past few years is really investing in artificial intelligence in 3 areas: in language intelligence, in audio intelligence, and in video intelligence. And in these areas, we've actually made tremendous amount of progress over the course of the past couple of years. We've spent a couple $2 billion on this in R&D, and we continue to keep chipping away at it. So things like real-time speech-to-text transcription, things like being able to make sure in real time we can translate what you're saying in 120 different languages. Things like making sure that in real time you can take out the background noise so that the far end doesn't feel like they have a hard time hearing you. Things like making sure that you can reduce the fatigue from a meeting, because we've actually got the cinematic quality that we're injecting in meetings so that it's no less fatiguing than you watching a movie for 2 hours. Those are all the things that we've been working really hard on. But we thought we could do more. And so in this event, what you're going to hear is that AI is pervasive in every aspect of the Webex platform. We've completely reimagined the platform. We've made sure that AI is the core fabric that powers the entire platform. And if you start thinking about AI, there's a lot of innovation that's happened, especially over the course of the past year in the area of language with large language models. Right? And they've changed everything. But the reality is not all large language models are created equal. And so we wanted to make sure that we gave you a choice. And so the way that we're going to work this is, whether it's a commercial model, whether it's our own model, or whether it's a select set of customer models for things that we need to make sure that we can actually enable for certain industries, for certain vocabulary, we will make sure that those are made available with an orchestration layer that has access to that from the Webex platform. And it's going to do 2 things. We have a test harness that goes out and looks at all of the different models and sees which models perform better in which kind of scenarios. And then what we're able to do is actually help pick, for these use cases, these are the models that perform the best. And so the large language model orchestration layer will actually help you direct to which model you want to use when you actually enter a prompt. But what it also does is provides a single point of policy enforcement from a security standpoint, from a privacy standpoint, so that if you happen to have a social security number, which is a PII piece of data, we want to make sure that that does not get accidentally shared with others. And so that's something that we've actually factored into the model, right? But there's a little bit more that we want to think about rather than just talk about large language models and how we use them, because we want to make sure that we think about the entire spectrum of communication, not just language, as we think about it. And great communication includes far more than just words. What I mean by that is there's actually a fair amount of use that we make of text to communicate with each other, with email, with messages, with transcripts, so on and so forth. And that actually gets solved with large language models. So that's what we've been doing now for about a year in the industry, and there's been a lot of hype around this. And those are the foundational models that people build on. But what about other signals that actually come to you that are so important in the way that we communicate on a day-to-day basis? What do I mean by other signals? Well, there's going to be audio, there's going to be video, there's going to be presence detection, there's going to be gestures. You might have things like voice tones and inflections. How do you make sure that that texture, that vibe of the communication is effectively translated when you're actually going out and looking at summaries that you might have? And so I am delighted for the first announcement we're making today, which is we are introducing, for the very first time in the industry, a real-time media model that complements a large language model, right? And what this is going to do is give you far more context and far more texture that can augment what you get from a large language model. And the two of them together make magic happen. So let me explain how this works. So you think about a large language model, you think about a real-time media model, you pull it together, and you'll actually have the signals that come from audio, video, presence, gestures being augmented with email, messages, transcripts. So how does this really manifest for the user? What does the user see over here, and how is it different for the user than going out to any place and doing a quick kind of prompt? Well, firstly, the data that we're going to have, that you're going to be querying against, is going to be data that's going to be very, very specific to what you do within Webex. So there's context in that data as the first piece. But in addition to that, what we've done is we've said, let's make sure that we actually have some context from the RMMs augmented to the LMMs. And that brings me to my second announcement, and I'll show you how this actually comes together in a very easy way. So the second announcement we have is that we are now introducing, for the very first time, an all-new AI assistant for Webex that goes across all the properties, right? And so it's going to be across meetings, across messaging, across contact center, across control hub, so on and so forth. So across all of the properties. So let me show you how this actually works. And so I'll give you one example, and Javed and team are going to actually show you many, many more examples. Let me show you how this works. Let's say that you happen to be in a meeting, and you'll see over here in this meeting that on the top left-hand side there's Clarissa, and just like everyone else, she's in a meeting working from home. The doorbell rings, and she has to go out and answer the door because a shipping company is there for delivering a package. The camera detects that Clarissa stepped away from a desk, automatically mutes her, makes sure that it says that she's going to be right back. When she comes back, the camera knows she came back and says, do you want to catch up on the meeting, on the things that you might have missed in these 3 minutes that you were gone? And it gives her a summary. How cool is that? It's actually, there's more though. She gets the summary, but then she has some questions. Because if you were to ask someone and say, hey, what did I miss? Then you might have a follow-up question like, was my name mentioned? Did I have any action items? Well, guess what? You're now going to be able to go out and do that as well, because you can ask that assistant questions about what happened during those 3 minutes that you were gone. And did you miss anything without actually disturbing anyone in the meeting? Isn't that cool? Super cool. I know, it's super cool. But what happens if you miss the entirety of the meeting? Let's say you didn't show up to a meeting. But don't keep doing that, because that might be bad for what your manager thinks of you. But in case you ended up missing a meeting on one day, we will actually make sure that we can provide you with a transcript. And that transcript is not just a transcript of a summary of the meeting. It's going to have augmented with it context of things that happened in the meeting. There was an applause. There was a gesture. People had emojis. Clarissa did step away during this time. All of those things become texture that gets added to the meeting that gives you far more context than what you would have had otherwise. And those get merged together. So a transcript now starts looking more like this. That says, well, this is what happened. Oh, and during that time, these are the activities that happened. Here's who actually showed a thumbs up. Here's the reaction from the audience. There was heated debate on this topic. All of those things will start showing up. In fact, understanding these things actually can create a lot of meaningful insight, because what we can have is further questions that can get asked. So, was there a lot of back and forth debate during this thing that I missed? Right? That's a question you can ask the assistant. Was there any decision made while I was away that I need to know of? In Cisco, if you're not in a meeting, that's the time you get assigned the most amount of action items. Third, is there anyone's opinion that actually got drowned out because people were speaking over each other and someone tried to speak a few times but never got in a word edgewise? Because we want to make sure that these meetings get to be inclusive and we can actually provide that level of texture to a meeting that's there. So that's super cool, and this provides a lot of kind of rich context. And we're going to make this available all in the assistant. Now, here's the cool part. We're not just building an assistant for meetings. We're also building an assistant for Slido. We're also building an assistant for Vidcast. We're also building an assistant for the contact center. We're also building an assistant for Control Hub. We're also building an assistant for any other product that we have in the suite, because it's going to be one assistant that can go out and actually go propagate to every single product that we have out there across the entire Webex ecosystem. Isn't that cool? So when I say this is part of the core fabric of the platform, that's what I mean. It's going to be pervasive in everything that we do. But the reality is that none of this really matters if you've got crappy audio and video, right? And every once in a while, when you're traveling and you happen to be in a hotel room, what are the things that actually create bad audio and video? Well, firstly, you might have really bad internet connectivity. In fact, one of the things that happens a lot is people keep asking these questions that get really annoying after a while. And we get annoyed asking the questions, but we have to keep asking them. And those are things like, well, can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you repeat that? If I got a dime every single time that I actually had to say that, I'd be, pretty comfortable right now. So what we want to do is eradicate these questions from the vocabulary completely. And so how do we go about making that happen? So this is, by the way, this is a completely mind-boggling, hard computer science problem that the team has solved, that they've been working on for 2 years. And I'm so excited to bring this to you, because you know what? We're not building the next word processor in the world. For those of you that might get that joke. Because Microsoft and Google, they do a fine job with that. We want to make sure that they keep doing that. But what we want to do is we want to completely reimagine how the AI, how AI can really reimagine how communications happen. So for the first time in a long time, we are introducing for you a fully reimagined AI audio codec, right? And, oh, you think this is good right now? Just wait until I tell you what's happening. It's crazy. This is a breakthrough technology that actually is using advanced neural networks and machine learning to really make sure that you have crystal clear speech in really bad conditions. All right, so what are the things that we want to solve for with the AI codec? First one, we want to give you high quality without requiring high bandwidth, so that anywhere in the world, you can go out and communicate with great quality audio, because audio is one of the most important things in a meeting. Second, we want to make sure that even if you happen to have high bandwidth, like in this fine hotel, there are times when you see a lot of packet loss, right? And every time you get to about 5 to 7 to 8% packet loss, you start to see massive degradation in the quality of the audio that you're getting. So what do we do for that? Well, so what we've done, and this is where we've truly got, rocket scientists working for us, because what they've done is they've said, let's reimagine the codec. So that if you look at this, by the way, the yellow line over here happens to be what the industry standard codec performs at. And think about the thing that you have to pay attention to is the 3 bands, the excellent band, the good band, and the poor band. And see how quickly, when you actually drop the bit rate, how quickly it goes to the poor band of quality. And then look at the blue bar. We can get to a substantially lower amount of consumption of bandwidth and still be in the excellent band of quality. We're going to be up to 16x times more efficient with the use of bandwidth. It's crazy, up to 16x times. And we're going to be more redundant. So let me actually explain to you how this works, because you're like, yeah, Jeetu, this is interesting, but how does it actually work? So this is how it works. The way that a codec works is it has a couple jobs. You encode the speech, you transmit it over a network, and you decode it on the other side so that people can hear it, right? And the way that you actually transmit the encoded speech over the network is you break it up into small little packets, and you actually make sure that the packets transmit. So if you think about these bars, think about them as packets in the way that things happen today. So the way that things happen today, there are these packets. They consume a fair amount of bandwidth, and they have to actually get transmitted over, let's say, a poor network. So I send a packet over, the first one goes through, the listener gets it. I get a second packet, but that one, oops, bad connectivity, that dropped. Third packet goes through, all the way through. But now you've got audio loss, because you've got the first packet, you've got the third packet, but you're missing the second packet, right? And this happens over and over and over again. And so you keep seeing this audio loss, which is why, you know what poor quality looks like when you've got bad bandwidth? It sounds something like this.
Jeetu, just want to let you know that fire. Great job.
All I heard in that was Jeetu and fire. Right? Not a good idea. It's like job security is at risk. Mr. Robbins, am I doing all right? So what do we do to go out and solve this? So what we've done, because we are so much more efficient in the amount of bit rate that's required, what we now are able to do is take the best quality audio, and what we've done is we've got a fraction of the amount of bandwidth with which we can go out and encode the audio, right? A fraction. But because we've got a fraction of the bit rate that's required, we can now add other stub packets or frames into the packet for redundancy. So if I have packet 1, I let it go through, it's poor network, it's going to go just fine, right? And so let's get the first packet to go through over the network. That's fine. But the second packet actually has a redundant frame of the first packet, and that actually fell off. You didn't get the second packet on the other side. Well, no problem, because you've got the third packet that actually has a redundancy of the second packet in there. And that, when it gets on the other side and you saw that you didn't get the second packet, we were able to recreate the second packet because we've got the stub of the frame of the second packet. Right? So now all of a sudden you have crystal clear audio even though you've got packet loss. By the way, this is so crazy that in some of the tests that we've done, typically you have 5 to 7 to 10% packet loss, and you'll start to see bad degradation of quality. We can, in some cases, go up to 80 to 90% spikes of packet loss and have crystal clear audio on the other side. 80 to 90%, right? There's more, though. You have these redundant frames that drop, but let's say that you don't have a redundant frame in some cases. Well, we've built generative AI for audio where we can actually, if you have 2 packets, we can reconstruct the third packet with generative AI. And so it looks completely like you've not missed a beat when you send it on the other side. That is the AI audio codec, folks. Right? This is great. Now, so we actually did this test. That previous thing that I showed you with Jeetu Fire, that one, we actually did that test. That was a real clip that we actually took across 2 codecs, the industry standard codec with bad connectivity, and then with our audio codec. Let's see how this sounds. And this is not just a PowerPoint file that we actually did. This was a real file that came out of 2 codecs. This is what the one sounds which goes through the AI audio codec.
Jeetu, just wanted to let you know that the team is on fire. Great job.
Very different kind of outcome than what I was thinking was going to happen. So what you get from this is crystal clear audio in the event of really poor resolution. Oops. Yep. In the event of really poor audio, you get crystal clear audio in the event of really poor bandwidth. You also get crystal clear audio when there's very high packet loss and spikes of packet loss. But you can also reduce your storage costs. For many of you that are using contact center, every call gets recorded. Every call that gets recorded has to get stored. That call that gets stored costs you money. Well, guess what? We are now very efficient compared to the way that we used to store audio, and so you can save a lot of money while you have better quality and you've got better redundancy in that same AI codec. This is actually going to fundamentally transform every aspect of how audio works within communications. But what we wanted to do was we said, well, that's great about audio, but what about video? What do you do with video? Well, we're introducing super resolution for video with the same set of technologies that we have in audio. So how does that work? Well, let's say that you've got a crappy connection. The first thing that we've historically done is we've said, let's deprioritize video so people can get the audio, right? And so what happens is you go into a meeting, and we would typically send you a 720p frame rate packet. We will downsize that packet to nothing but a thumbnail. So we'll downsize that packet to 270p, send it over the wire to the other side. But the magic that happens once you receive the packet on the other side, all in real time, by the way, is we supersize that packet, superscale it to 1080p. So now, what came out as a thumbnail is going to be crystal clear at 1080p clarity on video. And so one, we've made it very efficient for the audio, so you never have to downscale the video. And then what we've done is we've downscaled the video and then recreated it back up, so you have crystal clear audio. So you have crystal clear audio and crystal clear video as part of the core plumbing of what we do. Now, by the way, the reason we are really good at doing this at Cisco is, guess what? We know a thing or two about transmitting packets over a network. We're Cisco, we're a networking company. We know how to do this really well. So that's why this is actually fundamentally transformational in every use case that you'll see. And I'm sorry to geek out a little bit on this, but this was so consequential that I didn't want to just go out and gloss over it. And by the way, all of these things that we've done are going to have an extreme obsession on responsible AI. We will make sure that we focus on a tremendous amount of responsible AI. So that if you think about, let me summarize for you what I'm talking about. There is 4 major announcements I just walked you through for AI that are fundamentally game-changing. We're introducing a real-time media model for context. We're introducing a Webex AI assistant for every product, every persona in the Webex suite. We're introducing a Webex AI audio codec, and we're introducing super resolution with video. And that's just part of the plumbing, right? Now you're going to use that, and you're going to see some amazing use cases that get built that Javed and team are going to walk you through. But this is the power of the platform. And all of this is going to be done keeping in mind responsible AI, where we have transparency, fairness, accountability, privacy, security. All of those things are going to be kept in mind so that you can make sure that you can trust us when we go out and do something, that you're going to have the right permission. We're going to not violate your privacy. We're going to make sure that there's fairness. We're not going to inject bias in the model. Those are things that we're going to think about very deeply at Cisco. So our commitment to you is the following, because this is something that a lot of you folks tend to be concerned about sometimes. Your data belongs to you, not to us. We are not at all confused about that. Your data belongs to you. We are not going to make sure that we we do anything. We're not going to monetize your data. We're not going to do anything to share your data. Your data belongs to you. Number two, security is by design, because I do two jobs at Cisco. One job is to run Webex. The second job is running security. Security is by design in the core fabric of what we do. And number three, trust is earned every single day, but can be lost in an instant. So we are going to make sure that transparency is paramount, and we will keep making sure we keep chipping away at earning your trust bit by bit, every single day, every single week, every single month, every single quarter, every single year, because we will build the best AI-forward Webex platform on the planet. And everything we're doing is focused on helping our customers realize the full potential of AI so that you can take advantage of the platform advantage, build it once, make sure that you can utilize it everywhere, which really helps us because we can concentrate the resources in a different way. We're going to have a real-time AI advantage because everything that we talked about over here is not after the fact. It's real time. We're doing it as it's happening, and there's a specialization that's required for really getting good at real time. And lastly, there's a trust advantage. So that's what the suite consists of. Now, the next few sections that you'll go through is Javed will walk through the Webex suite, Snorre will walk through Cisco devices, and Jono is going to walk through through the Webex Contact Center in detail, and how all of this wonderful stuff in the platform manifests in things that change your life on a day-to-day basis. So, first one is making hybrid work work. One of my favorite leadership teams and one of my most amazing friends in this business has been Javed, who's been my partner of crime for 3 years. And it's been such an honor and such a pleasure to be a small part of this company. And what he has done with his leadership in this team is fantastic. Let's invite Javed Kahn on stage, who is the SVP of the collaboration business, folks.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeetu. That was very nice of him. I'm so excited to be here. Wasn't that some cool stuff? So I'm excited to be here at this hybrid event, and today I'm going to talk to you about how we are reimagining work with the Webex suite. Okay. Now, over the last 3 years, we've listened to how all of you have been adapting to hybrid work, and same with us. And we heard you, and that is why we built the Webex suite. It is the industry's most comprehensive set of tools that you need for today's way of working. So we started with meetings and calling. We then added messaging and whiteboarding. During the pandemic, we also added support for webinars and large events like this one, up to 100,000 participants. And through Slido and Vidcast, we added support for audience engagement, both for synchronous communication and for asynchronous communication. But this year is different. We are taking it to a whole new level because of all the stuff that Jeetu just showed you. We've now added generative AI into the Webex platform, which is going to allow us to deliver magical experiences across all of those workloads. And that's making the Webex suite smarter, more efficient, and easier to use. So do you want to see some of those experiences today in the Webex suite? Okay, so let me show you. So for the tens of thousands of you who are watching this event online, you're experiencing Webex events right now. So that's Webex events. That's what the online audience is seeing. For those of you who are in the room, you actually used Webex events as well. So when you signed up for this event, when you built your agenda, when you downloaded the mobile app, when your badge got printed, you were using the Webex events platform. And because the Webex events platform is built on the Webex platform, it gets all of those generative AI capabilities. Right? And one of those things is real-time translations. We added real-time transcription and translation into the Webex platform, into the meetings product a couple of years ago. Now it's available in Webex events. So for those of you following online, you can actually change the language, switch to French, and follow along in French. And I sound really good in French, by the way. So my question for all of you is, does your collaboration platform have support for hybrid events like this one? I'm guessing it probably doesn't. And I'm also guessing that you're probably spending tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, on another tool for hybrid events. Webex Events is included in the Webex suite. Now, the other thing we've done is we've also integrated Slido into the Webex Events platform. Slido is our audience engagement tool. It has things like polling, Q&A, and actually a lot more. In fact, at the start of this event, we asked you to participate in a Slido poll. And let's see if we can take a look at how most of you responded. So that's the Slido poll that all of you took at the start of this event. And we asked you, what could AI help you with that work? Attend fewer meetings, check, read fewer. I like all of those, and looks like the winner is all of the above. And you know what? We've got you covered because the Webex Suite solves for all of those things. So thank you for participating in that poll. This was in real time. So I have a second question for all of you. Does your collaboration platform allow you to engage with up to 10,000 people, like we just did, in real time? Slido, which is included in the Webex Suite, does. Next, I want to switch over to the Webex app and show you some of the newer capabilities. So the Webex app, for those of you not familiar with it, it is our single integrated application for all the workloads. All of the workloads that I talked about accessible from the Webex app. So this is the Webex app. You've got messaging, you've got meetings, you've got calling. We've added, there's vidcast in there. You can access it all from that app. But we've also added support for Miro, Salesforce, and other third-party tools. You can also access those apps from the Webex app. Now, the thing I wanted to show you is the meetings functionality. Jeetu talked about this a little bit, but I'm going to double-click into it a little bit. So this is how the meetings app looks. This is how my calendar looks from time to time. It is really, really busy. And because of that, sometimes you miss a meeting, right? You get double-booked. Sometimes Jeetu schedules over an existing meeting. Or I have to pick up my daughter, so I end up missing a meeting. The generative AI layer that we've added to the Webex platform now realizes that I've missed a meeting, and it pops up right there and tells me, you know what, this meeting you missed, do you want to get quickly caught up? So we are adding meeting summaries to the Webex meetings workload, and this is what that would look like. You could see on the right-hand side, we've used generative AI to summarize what this meeting was about, and it looks like this meeting was about a data center that the team's trying to launch in March, and this was actually a real meeting, and there's some action items that it captured. So I can now look through the action items, and obviously I'm mostly concerned about mine, and as always, Javed to review budget requests, yet another budget request. So the team wants me to review the budget and give them an approval. Now, some people would rather, instead of reading text, get a visual summary of the meeting. So what we've also added is a highlight reel. So instead of reading the summary, you can actually get a video summary of that meeting. And in this case, this is a 57-second summary of a 53-minute meeting that I could just watch and get quickly caught up. It's like a movie trailer of the meeting. But some of you might go, wait a minute, I actually want to jump in and look at the details of what was said and how it was said. So you can now jump to the meetings recording. This is the meetings recording. Again, you've got the summary there. But what the AI assistant is also doing is it's neatly summarized those meetings automatically into chapters. So I could, and those chapters are automatically generated. The topics are automatically generated. I can directly jump to a chapter and quickly get caught up on the entire, on that portion of the meeting. So I can actually listen to that conversation. So that's the full recording. Again, the AI assistant in there making your meetings recording much, much better. Next, I wanted to switch over to the messaging app. The messaging app also benefits from the messaging portion of the Webex app benefits from the generative AI capability. So, but before I do that, actually, Slido. Vidcast. So this is Vidcast. Vidcast is our audience engagement tool. I love this app because sometimes I can't find time to schedule a meeting or not everybody is available. So I use Vidcast to record a message and send it out to my team. And what you're seeing here is actually a vidcast I recorded to communicate our collaboration strategy. And because vidcast is built on the same Webex platform, guess what? Gets all of the functionality that I just showed you in meetings. So in this case, this is vidcast. As you can see, there's a video there. It has a conversation that the team is having. They can continue the conversation. We've added support for reactions and emojis, so the team can continue the conversation. I love this vidcast. It's probably one of the best ones out there, so I'm going to give it a thumbs up. But If I switch over and look at highlights, it's the same functionality now giving you a summary of the vidcast in text, and it also has chapters. The same chapters that you saw in meetings now available in vidcasts. What you're seeing here is that generative AI layer that Jeetu just described showing up in every workload. So that's vidcast, one of my favorite tools. If you haven't tried it, give it a try, and guess what? It's included in the Webex suite. Next, let's go to that messaging app, and we're going to switch over to the messaging app next. And so this is, if you're like me, you come back to your desk after a few hours, or you wake up in the morning, and guess what? You've got a long list of messages, and it takes a while to get caught up. And then, guess what? Look, I got added to yet another space. So how do you get caught up? So we've added functionality that actually tells you why I got added to the space. And in this case, as you can see, Brian had added me to the space, and the group chat is about a feature request that the product team made. And since I'm the GM of the business, the team wants my input. So that makes a lot of sense. So the generative AI layer told me why I got added to this particular space. Let's go into that space. And as you can see, there's a lot going on. So now I have to read through who said what. And sometimes if you're away for a few hours, there's 20,000 messages. Again, the AI assistant to the rescue. I can ask the AI assistant, tell me or summarize what's going on in the space, and that way I can get quickly caught up. So that's the summary that the AI assistant generated, and in this case, this is the same space related to that meeting, a new feature request. Brian and Brad requested a new word processor and email client be designed. That sounds like a really bad idea. And the same joke that Jeetu tried that did not work. So I'm going, wait a minute, this is a budget request, email client request, that's not a good idea. So let's say I'm a little annoyed, and I say, this has to be the worst feature idea ever. That's how I would normally sound, but that doesn't sound too good. So let's ask the AI assistant to be a little bit more professional. So we've added change tone functionality. But the last time I did that, the team of that was not Javed. He was getting coaching from somebody. So I'm going to try something more friendly. So there's a friendlier option. That's pretty good too. But maybe I don't like that option. Maybe we get one more option in there. So let's see. I must say this feature idea is not quite up to par. So that's much better. So I'm going to go ahead and send that. So that's change tone functionality. Makes you sound a lot nicer than you really are. Okay, so that was the AI assistant in action across the Webex suite. It's available across every workload. It's one comprehensive tool for all things hybrid work. We've got 8 workloads with generative AI built in. So let's take a look at how one of our customers is using the Webex suite.
With the Webex suite, the McLaren F1 team stays completely connected.
Oscar, you got an ETA? Don't worry, I'm on my way.
With calling, messaging, meetings, and more.
Oscar, where are you?
Yep, yeah, I'm almost there.
Esta parte es más ligera.
Show me the difference. Oscar, you gonna turn up anytime soon?
Yep, I'm just a few seconds away.
The Webex suite, driving hybrid work.
I love McLaren, and I'm going to get into trouble for saying this, but I like to think that the Webex suite had a little bit to do with their recent podium finishes. They've gotten much better. I think Ed's somewhere in there, messaging Zach. So everything in the Webex suite is made possible because of the platform approach we've taken. When we develop new capabilities, as you just saw, they become available across the entire portfolio. And that's what makes our new generative AI so exciting. It's built into every aspect of the platform through the Webex suite, and it's going to make every workload better. Now, there's one workload, though, that I haven't talked about. And it's absolutely foundational. It's calling. Right? Any collaboration platform is useless if it does not deliver a reliable dial tone. And by calling, I'm not just talking about that phone on your desk, if you have one, but I'm talking about calling delivered from the cloud, calling that works on your desktop, calling that works on your mobile phone. And of course, it works with a desk phone too. Now, businesses of all sizes use calling today to connect with their customers, partners, and employees. But every organization has unique needs. So there's highly regulated environments like governments, mission-critical applications like hospitals, and of course, it has to work on every one of your devices and software app. Webex Calling is the industry leader, delivers a scalable and secure solution for all of those use cases. In fact, it's trusted by 13 million users worldwide. That is a massive, massive increase from last year. And those same powerful calling capabilities are also available on your mobile phone through a feature called Webex Go that we launched last year. So let's take a look at how Webex Go works with your mobile phone.
Webex Go enables work calls on your personal device. No app needed. Using your phone's native dialer and reliable connection, Webex Go makes business calling effortless. Quickly connect with colleagues and customers by dialing an extension or selecting a business contact. Your Webex Go line will automatically activate. When you're ready for a more immersive experience, seamlessly move your call to a meeting or desktop phone. Webex Go devices are managed just like any other device, so you can be confident that even personal phones are compliant. That's the power of Webex Go, a complete enterprise-grade calling experience.
So that was Cisco's Webex Go solution. One device, two numbers. It lets you keep work and your personal calls separated. And it's available in the US and UK today. It's going to be available in France soon. But today, I'm pleased to announce that Webex Go is orderable through our partner AT&T. So your business calls are now available on your corporate phone, and they can be routed through AT&T's fast and reliable 5G network. So you can go down to the AT&T booth later today and take a look. It is amazing. It allows you to now not have to carry two phones. Now, as I said at the beginning, we've listened to you and what you've needed as you've adjusted to hybrid work. And we've promised that we'll keep adding new capabilities to the Webex Suite as your needs evolve. So for those of you who just need a simple call center to deliver customer experiences and don't need a full call center, contact center, I'm pleased to announce basic call center functionality now a part of the Webex Suite. We are calling it Webex Customer Experience Basic. It includes things like voice queues, skills-based routing, multi-call windows, and so on. What can it do for you? So the use case here is sometimes you have a sudden surge in phone calls. For example, open enrollment season, HR suddenly has to add 15 to 20 employees to take phone calls, and they just need light call center functionality. Another example would be when IT sees a sudden surge in phone calls because of an issue. In that case, this functionality can help you deal with those calls. It includes things like voice queues, an easy way to support high call volumes by adding announcement options, welcome messages, estimated wait time messages, call routing, and much, much more. And it's also very easy to manage. You can do that from Control Hub. So you get things like call queue analytics, calls answered, calls abandoned, average wait time, all available through the familiar Control Hub. And everything I just talked about is also available from within your Microsoft Teams app through our Webex calling plugin. So that is light call center functionality now available as an additional workload as part of the Webex Suite for no additional charge. Now, in addition to our friends in Redmond, we also love our friends in Cupertino, and we have had a long, rich history of working with Apple, all the way from CarPlay integration that you've heard about, AirPlay support in our video conferencing devices, and then we've got native experiences for the entire Apple ecosystem. Today, I'm pleased to announce that we are extending our commitment to the Apple ecosystem. Webex will be available when Apple TV 4K launches, and with the Apple Watch. So now you can connect. You can now connect with people even from your living room using Webex. So I've shown you some amazing experiences, and people ask me all the time, that's great, Javed, but how do I manage and deliver and monitor all these experiences? And that's where Control Hub comes in. Control Hub is our single pane of glass, can manage all things collaboration. Everything I talked to you about today is manageable from within Control Hub. It makes configuring, troubleshooting, gaining insights much, much easier. But guess what? It also gets the benefits of generative AI. And tomorrow, Anurag Dhingra, who's our Chief Technology Officer, is going to show you how generative AI makes troubleshooting a breeze. So that's enough of me talking. What I wanted to do next was invite one of our valued customers and a good friend of mine, Kate Prouty, on stage so that we can talk to her about how she uses the Webex Suite. Kate? Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you for making the trip all the way from the East Coast.
Yes, I'm excited to talk about this remarkable partnership that we've built.
Yeah. So Kate, most of the audience probably knows Akamai, but why don't you start by telling us a little bit more about Akamai and your role at Akamai?
Yeah, so I'm the CIO at Akamai. We run the most globally distributed connected cloud platform, which includes security, content, and cloud computing.
So Kate, our teams have actually had a pretty tight relationship working together. You know, we love the feedback we get from your teams. I think it's helped us build a better product. And why don't you tell us more about that relationship and how that's benefited you in your role?
Yeah, so I think, you hear about vendor partnerships, and it's really, you meet every now and again, but our teams truly are really interconnected. We have shared goals together, and we meet regularly. I would say that from my seat, being the CIO, it's really, really beneficial to me to have this partnership with you and your team, and to get the sort of proactive, engagement that we have. Our teams, you guys have allowed us to influence your product roadmap and to make things better for both of, for you and for our teams. It's fantastic because we have a really, I would say, impatient user base. So they're constantly looking for the next new thing. And for us to be able to have insights into what's coming and to be able to really prepare our user population for what's coming and to educate them and evangelize them on the tools and features that are coming from our Webex suite is super important for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think some of the functionality we've built in the product came out of feedback from your team. So thank you for that. And I think that's one of the things that all of the customers here in the audience, the last few years, we've learned so much from the feedback we've gotten from all of you, and it continues to make our product better. Now, I love how much Akamai uses Cisco. What about the Webex Suite? How is that being used inside Akamai, and any favorite features or workloads there?
Yeah, so I talked about our globally distributed platform. We also are a globally distributed workforce. And we are committed to empowering our employees to choose where they do their best work. So we are, a 100% flexible environment, which really does empower people to do their best work where they choose to. And that would be absolutely impossible without the Webex Suite. So we use the Webex Suite sort of start to finish with video messaging, calling. We use Vidcast. We use the contact center. We use the Control Hub. And so I would say that the thing that I feel like is most impactful, I mean, there's a lot that's impactful to our organization and the way we're able to collaborate and connect even in a virtual world. But the big sort of I think really most impressive component of it is this idea of proximity bias. So prior to the pandemic, when we were all in physical space, there was this proximity bias. People who were physically close to you tended to get the opportunities. And now in a virtual world and with the Webex Suite, you can create meetings with people, and whoever's available, regardless of where they are in the world, can join and have an opportunity to participate. And we're getting feedback from our employees that they feel more connected more included, like they're on a more even playing field than they ever were before, and that would be absolutely impossible without the WebEx collaboration suite. It's really like vital to our whole integrated communication strategy.
That's great to hear. Now, your workforce, did you try the mandate versus remote? How are they set up right now?
Yeah, so no, there will be no mandates to return to office from Akamai. Yeah, I know, I love it too. I'm benefiting as well. Our engagement scores are through the roof. Our productivity is through the roof, and I think it's absolutely remarkable that we've been able to maintain this really special culture. Akamai, is a 25-year-old company that had this special culture that we've been able to maintain, and a lot of it through the connection that we've been able to create through the tools that we have, utilizing the WebEx suite. And I will say the other thing that's remarkable is that our attrition is at an all-time low. And we have so many resumes coming in that our talent acquisition team literally has to take down job postings that we haven't filled yet because they're trying to weed through all the resumes, because I think employees are seeing what we're offering in terms of flexibility, and we're being able to retain the most incredible talent as well. So
that's great, yeah. So you heard a lot about AI. So as a CIO of a large company, what is your perspective on AI and some of the features you saw?
Yeah, so I'll talk generally about my perspective on AI. Akamai has been using machine learning and its security tools for years. So we understand the power and the benefits really around productivity and just efficiency using AI. You have to be cautious, especially when you're thinking about putting your information out on a public domain or even in a domain that you think is private. But depending on your vendors and how careful they are with their security, that's something you really want to think about. And so, to hear you guys talking about how important security is to you and your solutions is, obviously near and dear to my heart as well. But as far as the WebEx features, I was sitting in the back listening, very excited about all the things that are coming, because we really do embrace the technology, as yes, you guys know. Yep. We kind of probably drive these guys crazy a little bit, but and we've already started to embrace a lot of the AI features that are available today. I mean, when I think back sort of from the beginning about how worried you were about the noise, from the dog barking or the kids, and how amazing, kind of the background noise removal, that's been phenomenal, and optimizing video has been phenomenal, and seeing how you guys are going to continue to optimize audio and video I'm psyched about that. Because I'll say, as a CIO, these are the complaints that I get, right? Me and my team in IT are really the face of WebEx at Akamai. And so to have you guys being so proactive and innovative about your technology is just, has been obviously really monumentally helpful for me. We're using the transcription tools already. We have a group in Japan that's using translation, so some of the improvements that you guys are making to translation is great and remarkable, because we're already getting great feedback on the translation functionality as it is. So fantastic. And the other thing that's been really helpful for us is the personal insights. So across the company, we're talking about burnout and people just feeling like they're working 24 hours a day. And the personal insights has really helped people to kind of take a look at, hey, how am I connecting with my team, with my connections? When am I meeting? How often am I meeting? How am I showing up to meetings? And having that data, I think, is really helping people to kind of manage the balance a lot better. So
yeah, that's great to hear. It warms my heart to see all those features being used. But thank you so much, Kate, for coming out. I know you're a busy person, and we really appreciate you sharing your thoughts with the audience here. So
absolutely my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kate. That was fantastic. So now I know that many of you are actually already using one or two of these workloads that I just talked about. So here's the good news, by the way. All of the amazing functionality that you saw is likely already available to you if you're using one of our workloads. So give it a try. I know your employees, just like Akamai employees, will just love it. So let's review what we just heard. The Webex Suite is one tool for all things hybrid work. It's built on the Webex platform, providing seamless, unified experiences through the Webex app and management experiences through Control Hub. And it now has the world's most comprehensive generative AI capabilities built into every workload through the AI assistant. So thank you so much for listening to me. And Jeetu, over to you.
You know, recently I was with Javed's wife. We were actually in a party together, and I told her, I'm like, hey, I just want to let you know, I love Javed. And she goes to me and she goes, well, I love Javed more. And I said, actually, it's debatable. So that's great. But by the way, one thing that we want to make sure that you folks really appreciate over here is we've got this concept called feature stacking, where every feature we build with AI is actually helping the next feature get better. And so when you think about background noise removal, you take out noise from the background. What that does is actually makes it really, the accuracy of speech-to-text transcription gets better because the quality of input is better. Speech-to-text transcription getting better makes translations better, and it just keeps stacking on top of each other. And so we are super excited about all the progress that's being made, and it makes it all worth it when you have people like Kate that talk about how they're using it and how excited they are. So we're not done yet, because the next big area that we want to talk about is how do you make the office a magnet, not a mandate? And so we've got, one of the companies that I admire greatly, and I'm just giddy about them. I think like part of the EPS for them is because of the amount of stuff I buy from them, and that's Apple. It's an amazing company, and the thing that's amazing about the company is they do such a good job of making sure that the hardware and software tie together. And we've actually taken a chapter from their playbook. We do the same. And so what I want to have you folks experience next is all the innovation that's happening across our entire hardware suite to make sure that we can equip conference rooms, home workspaces, and every place in between. And to talk more about that, we've got a very good friend of mine, Snorre Kjesbu, who actually runs that business, who's going to come and talk to us about the devices and how we can reimagine workspaces. So Snorre, come on up.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeetu. Man, it's good to be here in Anaheim and at WebexOne. Hey! Jeetu started off by saying that 98% of meetings will have a remote participant. And the interesting thing is that out of 87 million meeting spaces, only about 15% of those actually have video equipment. And a lot of them have mismatched and entry-level equipment. So video enabling requires a lot more than just a camera and a monitor. Because when you do that, you miss rich context. You may miss that face-to-face interaction. And not only the facial expressions you need to get across and the nonverbal cues, but rich context is really about where are people sitting, who's looking at whom, where is the cross-table discussion going, and all of that context is needed. And then you heard with Akamai, they don't demand people back. That supports some of the statistics that we see as well. Remote and hybrid jobs attract 7 times more applicants than jobs that have to show up every day. So by mandating into the office, you basically limit your talent pool. At the same token, you want people in sometimes to be creative, to be able to do all of that mentoring. So you get into this complex dichotomy of wanting to attract top talent and wanting in-person collaboration. So imagine what if it felt like there was no distance between you and your colleagues. You could sit anywhere in the world and still experience creativity, innovation, productivity, and mentoring. Our North Star is to build collaboration devices that deliver the feeling of being there, even when you're not. Distance Zero, powered by RoomOS, reduces the impact of distance by bringing rich context that marks in-person collaboration so magical into the virtual space. This summer, I moved from Norway and I moved to California. I relocated to Cisco headquarters. I moved away from a big part of my team. The only way that is possible is because we are using our own technology. We're using all of that so that I can lead from anywhere. Distance Zero is accomplished by AI, bringing human interactions happening in the meeting into the virtual space. So, think quad camera or multiple cameras as the eyes in the room. They see what's happening in the conference room. They interpret powerful video data. Table microphone pros act as the ears and listening to collaboration interactions, collecting rich data. And every device, we go back one, please. And every device includes a codec running RoomOS, the brain of our solution, interpreting the video, the audio, and the data we have collected. Distance Zero is the culmination of years of innovation. We have been building machine learning and AI components since 2016. It began with head detection, knowing where and how many people were in the room, being able to add things like name labels. Then we added and combined that with audio detection so you could hear where the audio is coming from to zero in on the active speaker. And today's devices follow presenters, switch between multiple cameras. It is an oversimplification, though, but by combining framing, zoning, multiple streams, and more, those things are the fundamentals and the fundamental technology behind cinematic meetings. In this way, audio and video intelligence interact seamlessly to maintain in-room context. And context is so important because we're providing equitable representation without compromising that context. In the scenario you can see behind me, the placement of people mirrors the placement of people in the room. So when they interact, we understand not only what they're saying and what they look like, but also the physical context. We can add the experience in the room with face detection and name labels. And using multiple directional microphones in our devices, like this Board Pro, which features 14 directional microphones, we use spatial audio to guide your attention to who's speaking. For instance, in the example behind me, Wendy's voice will come from the right, and Stephen's voice will come from the left. Cisco devices feature powerful NVIDIA chipset. This market-leading partnership started in 2015 because we knew that the future was going to be machine learning and AI. We built that foundation 8 years ago that allows us to be market leader in Workspace AI and machine learning. And today's RoomOS is the industry's most capable AI and machine learning platform, supporting future meeting experiences like multiple camera technology. Take a look at this.
Ever feel like you have the worst seat in the meeting? I feel like no one can really hear or see me. Can we fix that? That's better.
I would love to have a camera right there. Nope. Let's put it up there.
And can we get intelligent audio so that everyone in the room can be heard?
What about framing, so these side conversations don't get lost in the noise?
Agreed. Amazing.
And maybe it could all be directed like a movie in real time so that everyone on the call feels like they're in the room and part of the conversation.
It would be amazing if I could stand and move around the room while I talk. I could go through our latest pitch or market forecast, and nothing would be missed, not even if I spin dramatically and look right there.
Wow, that is awesome. By choosing the best view at any moment, devices make it feel like you're in the room. You can utilize one or more cameras to follow the actions, pick the best angle, and seamlessly switch scenes. It's a movie-like experience. But we're bringing experiences to every space, to everyday conference rooms, to complex use cases. We are eliminating distance. For some of our customers, extra long rooms have been challenging. The camera isn't capable enough to clearly zoom into people in the back. Zoomed images look grainy. You might miss that facial expression that's so key, and the non-verbal cues. So with multiple cameras, like adding a pan-tilt zoom camera shown here, we can actually improve the visibility of the room. And participant in the back can be framed with high quality. And in this open scenario, with glass walls or out in the open, you have people walking past, creating distractions. With the meeting zones, we are able to solve that. So Cisco devices understand the perimeters, it frames only the participants there. We also get a lot of feedback now from the high end, from the boardroom. Increasingly, boardrooms must look different. And we're solving for this as well, by developing a blueprint for an all-new boardroom experience that's available today. In the center, you have 4 quad cams plus screens at eye level. The close-up view of content and remote participant. Just below the conversations, you can have that natural conversation going over the table. If you then go outside the room and the ones that are remote, they get a straight-on view of the 16 in-room participants, enabling the feeling of face-to-face collaboration for in-person and virtual participants, and giving everyone an equitable seat in a roundtable discussion. But we can also eliminate distance in auditorium and training style. Devices switch between presenter, audience, cameras, and you can see speaker, content, and audience reactions. And the hybrid presenter mode will allow you to have a remote and an in-room speaker together. So Cisco is delivering distance zero in any meeting room. And then we went out and we did a survey. And in that survey, we saw that people want to equip medium and larger meeting rooms, and that's the top of their mind. And the key question is, what's holding you back? Video-enabling spaces has historically been complex. It required integrators to stitch together multiple audio, video, and furniture components, and requiring a specialist on site to deploy. What if you could combine all of these needs into one integrated device that simply and beautifully deploys distance zero.
Everyone, how are you doing today?
Hey team, always good to see you guys.
Look at our baby. Isn't it beautiful? I am so proud to announce EQX. It's combining timeless design and unparalleled performance and deployability. It is the simplest way to deploy virtual in person. You don't need an AV specialist. You eliminate the need for patchwork tools and speaker mounting furniture. Customer can ensure that the spaces are beautifully and consistently deployed. And we have flexible mounting options. It can go on the wall, or you have the stand. Wow, look at this. So let me head back to stage. So the EQX is fitting some of the high-end rooms. But Cisco, oh shoot. Cisco is all about having a device for every user, for every meeting space, and every use case. The example is the room bar covers the huddle spaces, the EQ, the large spaces, and we have a range for every use case and every price point. But of course, all Cisco devices are fully manageable through Control Hub, with Workspace Insight tabs and Facility and IT Gets Insight. It includes an overview of each meeting room that shows how devices and third-party peripherals, software, and connections are performing in the room. And we have now as well enabled Cisco 1000 agent on the devices. That allows you to do a full hop-to-hop analysis all the way from the cloud to the device, and you get that full control. And that's integrated as well with Cisco Spaces that give users the visibility of room availability. It gives facilities the visibility to room utilization, air quality, and more that we get through our sensors. And this is only the beginning. Tomorrow, Anurag will share more about how Control Hub plays a foundational role in reimagining IT. But our vision is to bring distance zero to every interaction. As Javed pointed out, we're all about enhancing your experience, no matter what platform you're using. 85% of our customers told us that they use 2 or more meeting platforms. So we have vigilantly been designing distance zero to support back-to-back on Zoom, on Microsoft Teams, on Google Meet, and Webex. And for customers that have standardized on Teams, Cisco and Microsoft announced a partnership to bring distance zero to mutual customers. More than 2,000 mutual customers are benefiting from this experience now, adding intelligent security, management, and all the other benefits through the Webex platform. And to talk more about that, I'm so proud to invite my good friend Ilya Bukshin to the stage. He is Microsoft's VP of Team Calling and Devices. Ilya, please come on stage. Give him a good round of applause.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. So, thank you for coming here at WebexOne, and great to have you on stage. So, Microsoft worked with some of the biggest customers, just like Cisco. So, what are you hearing from the customers about what the future of the workspace look like?
Well, first of all, thank you again for having me here, my first WebexOne conference. I think our customers are telling us many of the same things that you and Jeetu and Javed have mentioned. The need to make offices a magnet so that all of the distributed workforce that has formed, that has thrived over the pandemic, can really be productive together. So our imperative is to empower our customers to have the best possible calls, meetings, collaboration in every space, combining every shape of hybrid work. Workers on the go, workers at home, workers together in spaces, workers together in neighborhoods, in multiple offices. That's the imperative we hear.
And why did Microsoft decide to partner with Cisco to prepare our customers for the future of the workplace? It's an obvious question to ask.
Well, I think, first of all, it was a great mutual decision. That definitely takes both of us to partner. For us, it starts with customers. We had customers who were using Teams, but explicitly said that they would not move forward with device deployments unless we had Teams on Cisco devices. And again, working from our mission of the best possible calls and meetings in every space, it just made sense to bring the Teams experience to the beautiful, baby as you called it, the beautiful kinds of devices that you make and that many of our customers love and use every day.
And what has the reactions been from the customers since launching these capabilities? You know, we announced a year ago, we shipped in March, and now we have a full portfolio.
Well, as you said, over 2,000 customers, thousands of rooms, tens of thousands of rooms. I think that sort of summarizes the reaction, which is, one, maybe it's about time you guys partnered, but two, it's just great to see a Teams experience on these devices delivered with that unique Cisco integration that I have to give you so much props for in terms of the edge AI, things like meeting zones, audio AI, integration with Cisco Spaces. It's frankly what customers want and expect from us.
And so what's next for Cisco and Microsoft? You and I are asked that question all the time.
Yes.
So what's next?
Well, I think there's a lot that we could dream up together. I think continuing to bring edge AI together with what we do in our cloud. So building on that foundation you talked about so that we can enable things like Microsoft Copilot with Cisco devices in rooms. Continuing to expand use cases for every possible space. Maybe a surprise or two if we dream of it. I think there's a lot coming up that we'll work on together.
Yeah, and also we get a lot of feedback from the customers out there of features they like and features they miss and improvements, and we're obviously working together on those. So thank you very much for joining us here at WebexOne. It's really great to have you on stage. Thank you very much, Ilya. Thank you for the partnership.
Thank you.
I mentioned today that employees are calling for flexibility. Remote and hybrid jobs attract 7 times more applicants. With collaboration devices, organizations can deliver reimagined workspaces and flexible work experiences without compromise. So back to Jeetu.
Thank you, buddy. Let's give Snorre a big round of applause, folks. All right, so the next one is talking about contact center and how we can actually help our customers' experiences get meaningfully better. Now, we all have experienced good and bad customer service. I'm going to just give you an example of great customer service that had happened a few years ago. I had purchased a new car from an electric car manufacturer at the time. Was the only one there. And I had called them because my lease payment, there was something wrong with the lease payment, so like they had not auto-deducted the lease or something of that sort. So I called them, and it was while I was driving. And they picked up the phone. I said, hey, I just purchased a car. My lease payment doesn't seem to have auto-pay turned on. The lady said, hang on for 1 second. Came back, said, you're all set. That's all. That was the interaction. I still remember it 3 years later. They knew who I was. They knew what the problem was. They never asked me for my account number. They never asked me for my address. They just fixed the problem, and we got going with our day. That's magic. And we want to make sure that we can actually do more and more of that as we go forward. So here's the way that we're thinking about customer experience. There's 3 things that we want to go out and solve for in the true north. We should never have a customer wait. We should never make sure that a customer repeats themselves over and over again as they keep getting transferred. And we should make sure that every customer has a personal concierge when they call. They can call at any point in time. This is the true north that we're trying to go out and get to. And to talk more about that, I've got Jono Luk, who's actually the Chief Product Officer for our customer experience business. So Jono, come on out. I'm not sure which way he's coming from.
Hey.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Jeetu. Hello, WebexOne. And thanks for being, thank you for saying hello back. Thanks for being with us here in sunny Anaheim, California. I actually just checked 2 minutes ago, and it is in fact sunny. You can't tell. What better place for us to talk about great customer experience than a mile away from the happiest place on earth, Disneyland. I'm really excited to be here with you today so we can talk about what we've been doing for the last couple of years. We have built a brand new cloud-native Webex contact center. This new product enables everything from proactive communications so you can tell your customer if their shipment's delayed, or remind them about their doctor's appointment next week. We have self-service capabilities so your customers can get questions answered fast or get those repetitive tasks done right away. And last but not least, we have redesigned the agent and supervisor experiences to help your business deliver on your best customer experience. We've connected all of this across 16 digital channels, video, and voice. And all of this built on top of the same Webex platform that Javed and Jeetu spoke about earlier today. Now, let me show you a bit of this new contact center. First off, let's talk about how to create those virtual agents. We've made it incredibly simple through drag and drop low-code experiences to create that next virtual agent. It will take you just minutes. No army of developers required. Next, let's talk about that agent desktop. We've reimagined what it means to be an agent. What do they do all day? What are the tools they need? How do they focus and better serve your customers? And that's what's driven us to build this new agent desktop experience. And we'd be remiss without talking about the new supervisor desktop. We spent a ton of time with customers and businesses to really understand how does that supervisor manage 10+ agents in real-time discussions, and some going good and some going bad. We've brought those learnings into our new extensible supervisor desktop, and we'll dig into each of those in a moment as well. But first, I want to jump into that first challenge that Jeetu mentioned. How do we make sure that your customer never has to wait? Did you know that the average person is going to spend 43 days on hold in their lifetime? First of all, it's time that we're never going to get back. But every time you wait, you just get a little more irritated, and that's going to make it harder for when you get through to that human agent. With our contact center platform, we believe we can help you to eliminate those hold times with our all-new self-service options. This means that customers can get a lot more done for themselves on their own time. But why? Why are virtual agents interesting? Well, because virtual agents are going to take on those high-volume, repetitive tasks and leave your human agents free to deal with the novel, the complex, or those really, really high-stakes problems. And the best part is virtual agents won't get tired, and they're going to work 24/7. Let's take a look at what that looks like now, though. Here, I got a notification from my bank. They think I spent $475 in Chicago. I just said I'm in Anaheim, so clearly that's not me. I'm going to say, no, that wasn't me. From there, the bank says, well, you probably want to lock your account to prevent that next fraudulent charge. That sounds great, but I'm traveling right now. What if I do need to make a legitimate charge before I get my next credit card? So I ask, how? How would I unlock that? We've pivoted the conversation. My bank now comes back and explains. It says, well, yeah, you could unlock this, and it tells me how I could go about doing that. And then they ask, so do you want to lock your account or not? Yes, absolutely. One less step for me to take. And just like that, I have now locked my account. That was the power of a virtual agent. There was no human agent required at all. And as a customer, the business helped me get ahead of a really bad situation. Next, let's talk about how Webex Contact Center will help ensure that your customers will never have to repeat themselves. 54% of customers surveyed said that they would be considering ending a call if they have to repeat themselves again or to that next agent. This happens to me all the time, right? I'm in a busy place, I'm on the phone, and the very first question they ask me is, what is your name? And I say, my name is Jono Luk. And invariably, the very next question is, I'm sorry, could you say that again? That frustration that builds, it's just going to get magnified every time I have to repeat myself, or if I switch over to another agent and have to start over. What if we could make sure that no matter where you are, you could be heard? No matter if you're at that busy airport or you're stranded on the side of a highway. With Webex Contact Center, you will always be heard clearly over the phone by your agent. And what if you could always hear your agent too? Even if they're in a crowded contact center building or working from home with kids and pets in the back. With Webex Audio Intelligence, we remove the background noise and focus on the voices that matter. So you can always hear the agent, and the agent can always hear you. Now, many of you probably right now are thinking, at least a couple, that sounds familiar. I love that feature. I have that in Webex meetings and calling. And you know what? You would be absolutely right. Because as Jeetu mentioned earlier, we want to make sure that our AI is pervasive across every aspect of the Webex platform. And folks, that's why I'm really excited to be announcing our AI assistant for Webex Contact Center. We have integrated, yeah, that's right. We have integrated industry-leading AI capabilities in all of the places that matter so you can take your customer experience to that next level. Let's take a look now at some of those experiences. We'll start with conversation summaries. With our new AI assistant for Contact Center, we'll automatically generate a summary for every call, every chat, every interaction. How many of you, when you're in the middle of an interaction with a business, you're describing your problem, and all of a sudden you get disconnected? You're sitting there going, are you still there? Guess what? They're not. There's no one there. Then you call back the business, and you start again. This happens to me all the time. I just talked about how that's been the case. The business is hung up on me, and now I have to call back, and I have to repeat myself. That's not great. Conversation summaries is the answer to this customer experience problem, because it will give that second agent all the context from the previous call, reducing the time it takes to get the conversation back on track and solving your customer's problem. And most importantly, that's going to ensure that your customer isn't in that 54%, the ones that are considering dropping the call or dropping you as a brand. But our AI, it helps in so many other places across Contact Center as well. One of the key reasons that we see really long wait times, your estimated wait time is 17 minutes. That's because agents are looking up answers in real time, trying to figure out how do I give the customer what they want, and that just adds time to every single interaction. We're introducing suggested responses. These are automatically generated potential answers for your agents to use when interacting with a customer. Your agents can customize those and then use that answer to move that discussion forward. This is going to reduce wait times because your customer's questions are getting answered faster and your agent is moving on to the next customer. Now, moving on to that third problem, how? How do we help you deliver a personal, concierge-like experience so every single customer feels like a VIP? Well, let's start with this fact. A customer is usually going to talk to 1.6 agents every time they call you. That's 2 strangers each time, 2 people that they don't know, that don't know them, and don't know what they want. The best agents deliver that empathetic feel. They get to know you before they help you solve that problem. But in reality, there's just not the time. And there are so many burned out agents out there who come across as a little short and a lot less than empathetic. All that contributes to just a not good feeling. But what if we could make it feel like every time you call in, they knew you, and we help your agents deliver that personalized experience? With Webex Contact Center, we're doing this. We are helping to build that understanding through the customer profile. I really don't like this photo, by the way. People have heard me say this. That profile is everything about me, my interactions with the business, the emails, the chats, the previous times I visited the website, the things from the CRM system. We take this information, process it, and then put it into the hands of the agent. And then we add to that, we create a deeper and richer understanding with information like what's worked well before in a high-stress situation with Jono. All of that together will lead to a better chance of success for that agent. And that customer got that personalized concierge experience. Now, while it's great to do all these things automatically, update a customer profile, suggest answers, we know that most agents out there can spend up to 5 minutes on wrap-up. Every minute on wrap-up is a minute not with a customer. And we can fix this too with our automatically generated wrap-ups. We will create that call summary, identify the topics, multiple, that could have been covered in a conversation, and we will even suggest the wrap-up codes to use. This approach is going to help shorten that time your agents are spending on wrap-up and move them on to that next customer interaction. And while we spent a lot of time right now just talking about the agents, I told you we've also reimagined how supervisors work. We've put into their hands new tools to help them coach their agents for better outcomes. Coaching highlights, located in the supervisor desktop, is how we are solving this problem. As you can see from this tile, we have highlighted the 3 best agent CSAT scores and the 2 worst calls right now in this shift. And from there, we can double-click and we can understand the positive interactions that led to those high CSAT scores. The supervisor has an option. They can stop and listen to those parts of the call and learn from it. And they can take that learning and retrain other agents, lifting everybody's experience. Because we know there's a lot of agents out there that could really do a whole lot better. On the flip side, what we have here is a call that's negatively impacted your customer satisfaction. It'll even pinpoint where in this call things went bad. And the supervisor can take that learning and then give that as feedback and coaching to that agent. And all contact centers record all interactions, sure. But we know that supervisors cannot listen to 8 hours of recordings for all 10 of their agents every day. With coaching highlights, thanks to the AI in our platform, we've made it super easy for supervisors to create short reels from the full recording, and then we point them and help them learn what went well, what worked, what didn't. Then they take those learnings from their best agents and retrain everyone else to lift the empathy and deliver that personalized experience. All right, well, I've told you a lot about what we've done, but at this point, I'm actually really excited to bring Rob Bent on stage with me. Rob is the Director of Digital Technologies with United Airlines, and we're going to have a little chat and tell you how Webex has helped United. Rob, please join me on stage. Okay, I always find these stools kind of awkward. Could you maybe, Rob, tell the audience a bit about United Airlines and your role and what you do there?
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. So United Airlines, one of my primary jobs is to empower our frontline employees at the airport for day of travel to deliver a great customer experience through the tools that they use to serve our customers and provide support. And I'm excited to talk about one of the cool things that we've done over the last couple of years.
Absolutely. And actually, Well, these numbers look good. You this morning, I think, told me that some of those have even gone up.
Yeah, as you can see, there's a 70,000 employee number there. We recently reached over 100,000 employees just allowed last week. So it's a huge goal for us as we continue our growth and desire to continue to be the world's largest global airline.
And that's therefore even more important to have the right tools for every job. Rob, could you maybe tell us about some of the problems that you were trying to solve in the customer experience space and how Webex factored into that?
Yeah, so we all remember that thing called COVID. That was a couple years ago.
No.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about it much. But we remember during that scenario, the airlines basically weren't flying. We went from booming, flying 600,000 plus passengers a day, to virtually shut down in a matter of days. Well, during that time, we had this to reinvent. What are we going to do? We're going to come out. Our CEO is like, we're going to grow, we're going to go fast, we're going to reboot. What can we do to encourage safe travel, get customers out there? We had this brainstorming session about, hey, what if we were able to bring this phygital world of customer service together where we could safely put our agents that are in face-to-face transactions to give our customers a way to communicate them without having to find them, to actually go look for them, to wait, to be masked up. And out of that was born something called Agent on Demand. Agent on Demand allowed us to take our airport agents, keep them in the airport, put them in small rooms behind the scenes, in uniform, give them the ability to communicate with customers via video, voice or chat, whatever the customer choice wanted. Quickly, by scanning a QR code, they were able to launch into a digital interaction using all that first-party data that we have to know where they're at, know what they needed to be serviced with, and allowed that interaction to grow. And it's truly transformed the way we service customers today.
And I really want to ask this one. Why did you choose Webex?
Well, as you know, what we've heard today and this morning, Webex is the provider that connects that infrastructure of knowing how to get data, knowing how to then do voice and video, and we wanted a platform that could deliver at scale. When travel happens and storms disrupt flights, we have thousands of customers that want service. They want to know what's going on. Even though we may have delivered up that next flight opportunity in their mobile app, given it to them in a proactive notification, they still are nervous and anxious and they want to connect. Well, you need a platform that's going to be able to sustain that volume of traffic because that's thousands demanding service in an instant. Mm-hmm. That's what Webex can do. Webex holds up to the trust, can give us the intelligence, and looking at all this great AI, it's only going to get better as we are in these airports and we need the customer to be able to see that smiling agent, to hear empathy, to hear concern, and to know they're getting the best option to continue their travel if they choose to interact that way.
No, I appreciate that, and I'm going to put you on the spot. Of all the things we've talked about today with AI, what's the one place where you really see AI having really meaningful, transformative effect in customer experience?
Only one?
Just one. Or two if you really want.
I really love what you're doing with the codec and improving the voice. Airports are loud and noisy, and being able to have that interaction be meaningful and to be able to hear each other is going to continue to be great, and I'm excited about that. AI is going to continue to bring we have a lot of first-party data, and being able to understand that customer and what they need, what they desire, in the collectiveness of what's going on in their world is going to truly be able to automate and service them faster. And that's going to be engaged in our experience faster. And I'm really excited about what these models are going to do. Really excited about what you're being able to do with the RM models that's going to bring the collaborative between LAM and RM together.
Yeah.
Connecting those two is going to be transformative for the agent interaction and the customer to get what they need fast.
For sure. Well, hey, Rob, thank you so much for being with us here and speaking with us all today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Take care, man. Over that way. All right. So one of the things I think a lot of us realize as you're on hold with that agent is they might not actually have the answer you need, and their supervisor may not either. And why is that? Because the contact center alone can't just make things up. They can't always solve the problem. Your agent probably needs to escalate to someone out there, reach out to someone else in the company to get that answer. And that's why we believe that a great customer experience is every employee's responsibility. To help customers solve for this, we have been building a customer experience for every need. This starts with our Webex Customer Experience Basic, our lightweight call center that's included with our Webex suite. It provides our most advanced calling features so a business can effectively manage customer needs. And then we have standard and premium agent capabilities. This is our full-blown Webex contact center I just showed you today. It brings together a powerful set of experiences across digital, voice, self-service, and human agent capabilities so businesses can best serve customers in high-volume environments. But sometimes, like I said, support calls can't just get transferred to the next agent. Sometimes they need to go deeper into that organization and bring in a back office employee. That is why we are introducing CX, or Webex Customer Experience Essentials, enabling any employee in the organization to be part of your customer experience workflow. Webex Customer Experience Essentials brings together the core of Webex Contact Center and Webex Calling. This means that you're now able to streamline that escalation experience by turning those back office employees into specialized agents. It means you're able to understand how many issues had to leave your contact center, thanks to the deeper and more complete analytics you'll get. And then lastly, it enables data-driven agent improvements because you fully understand that whole customer experience. The best thing about all this, you get all of it for $30 a month a user, and it is available in Q1 of calendar 24. Woo! So, I've shared a lot with you today, but I want you to remember the biggest takeaway for all of you is this. With Webex Contact Center, your customers will never have to wait, will never have to repeat themselves, and will get a truly personal concierge-like experience. We are the only vendor out there that can bring all of this together across voice, digital, self-service, and human interactions. And we're bringing the entire organization into serving your customers thanks to Webex Customer Experience Essentials. So no matter where your business is along this CX journey, we can help you to reimagine the customer experience with Webex.